Welcome to What's a Mom podcast. You are listening to Doulas Petra
and Jacqueline.
Motherhood can be isolating and hard.
We are two doulas who want to provide a safe place to talk about all things mom.
From pregnancy
To birth.
to postpartum.
To parenting.
Join us as we have real conversations about real life.
Hey guys, you're listening to What the Mom podcast
With Doulas Petra.
and Jacqueline.
Thanks for joining us today.
We are going to be talking about how to make a birth plan.
This is something not everyone thinks about, but it can come in very handy.
Absolutely.
Especially if you do have certain preferences over others.
Yeah. I did not make, I don't think I made one anytime. I just basically I didn't want intervention. I knew that. I didn't want to go to the hospital. So I knew that I wanted a home birth because that was the only other option with not having a doctor. So I went the midwife route. But I don't think I actually wrote a birth plan out.
No,
I don't think so. I would remember that, don't you think?
Yeah.
I think
not
so.
everyone does.
Yeah.
I did with my first two, and then
Did you? So you had it like in your hand when you went to the hospital?
I had it in my bag, yeah.
Huh.
For the first one. The second one, I had it with me at home.
Wow. Because you had Ondor in the hospital.
My first was the
Your
only in the
first.
hospital, yeah.
It was only your first, and then so you had your birth plan, and what? You just show the doctor. You just show your midwife, and then do you have to show the doctors
thing is,
on call or no?
When you have a midwife, you kind of talk about things like this just automatically, anyways.
Yeah, more natural things like that. Yeah.
Whereas doctors, there's kind of a set of things that they automatically just assume you do unless you tell them otherwise.
I've heard that too.
Yeah. So if you have a doctor, this is something that you're probably more likely to want to have, but some people do with midwives as well.
Huh. Yeah, I don't remember having one. So.
Basically, a birth plan, what is it? How would you describe a birth plan?
It would just be what you would want to happen during your birth. So like example, who would you want as a birth partner? Obviously, if you are married or you have a spouse, usually that's who you would choose. Definitely. My husband was very private. He never wanted anybody, any other, like he just wanted it to be him and me and the midwife. So yeah, like he didn't want any parents there or anything. So I don't know. Everyone's different.
And you were okay with that?
Yeah, and I was okay with that. I was like, okay.
I kind of just did what I wanted because I was the one giving birth.
Well, totally.
You're a lot nicer than me.
Totally, absolutely. And like, I remember we had one conversation and I kind of wanted my mom to come. Mm-hmm. But then it was like, I wasn't really sure if it would be a good idea because then I didn't want to exclude my husband's mother, and it just to me was too complicated. And at my second, my mom was there, which was really cool. But other than that, it was just me, my husband, and the midwife. So, yeah.
Yeah, this varies depending on
absolutely
each family. For me, I always had more people.
Yeah.
I'm the kind of person where it doesn't like bother me if there's lights, if there's noise. If
really does not bother her.
When I'm in labor, my eyes are closed. I'm focusing.
Like, seriously.
I hear everything around me, but I'm not looking, so it really doesn't bother me.
No, she's not looking. I was at her fourth, and I was fine to be at the third, but she had to transfer to the hospital. Yeah. And she was super bummed about that. But being at her fourth birth, oh my goodness, like it was, you just looked at her and you were like, are you even in labor? Like she didn't even make a sound until the
but I feel like it was not that easy.
Out. I mean, okay, I saw it. Your mom and dad definitely felt like it, but it was like, even Tom, he's like, oh my gosh, she's not even making noise. Like, and we were like, oh, something wrong. And no, she was just like super like deeply focused on what she was wanting. So yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'm trying to think. My first, I had
Yeah.
the midwife and the midwife in training.
Okay.
She was there. I had my mother, I had my husband, and I had a birth photographer.
Uh-huh.
That was in a hospital.
That was your first.
Yeah.
So was that something your mom really wanted to be there?
She did, and
Too.
I was totally fine with that because I'm really close to my mom.
Yeah, you are. That's
and then my second, I had a lot of people. So again, I had the same midwife, and I had the same midwife in training. It was crazy. She was doing her last placement with the same midwife at the same time I had that next baby, which was really cool.
That's really neat.
And then I had a birth photographer.
Doula.
I had a birth doula. My husband. I had both my parents. My dad came that time.
Yeah.
And then at one point, I hemorrhaged. We ended up having 2 paramedics in the apartment. So it was busy. And then my third, I did have a birth photographer there, and my mother. Mm-hmm. And you were going to come, but then we ended up transferring.
Yeah.
And in the hospital, this is in the middle of the pandemic. I couldn't have anyone else, so it was only my husband and I.
She couldn't even have her doula. They kicked her out. So
the midwife, she was hardly there. She'd come in and just to check on us quickly.
Just to check
the heartbeat, do some paperwork, she'd leave.
Yeah. Because the best thing for you is less stress.
So that was a very different type of birth than my other ones because it was just my husband and I most of the time.
Wow.
And
very intimate and quiet.
Yeah, it was a very different role he had to take on then because it was only him. And it was still very nice, but
he doesn't do well with blood.
It was harder for him. It did make a difference for me.
I remember when he's like, you can go up there, Jacqueline. I'll stay downstairs. I was like, well, that's a lot of blood. It's okay.
In the water birth, it always looks worse.
It always looks worse, yeah.
So then my fourth was busy again because then we didn't end up having a second midwife because there wasn't one available, which was crazy.
I was wondering. No, there wasn't.
No, she couldn't find one that was available at that time to come.
Wow.
Said I was doing so well, she wasn't going to worry about it. And then I had you as my doula. I had my husband. I had both my parents. I did not have a birth photographer this time, though.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
But I got video.
Yeah.
And pictures.
So that was pretty cool.
Absolutely.
So it was a little bit different. So it depends on who you are, what your relationship is with people.
Yeah. And in the hospital, they usually don't allow. Yeah, it depends. There's limits on how many people can be there. But if you're at home, anyone.
Your choice.
It's your choice. You can do whatever you want. So, yeah, it's just good to know and envision who you see at your birth because it's a big deal.
I think something important to note too is it's okay to say at first in your birth plan, I want so and so and so and so.
Absolutely.
And in the middle of it, someone's stressing you out.
Change your plan.
You can say, I want you to leave.
Yeah.
Or you tell your partner, can you please get them out of the room? Like, that's totally okay.
Absolutely.
Or even if your partner's stressing you out, you can send them out of the room. Go ask them to go get something.
Go get me
from
some
far away.
Go get me a snack. Just kidding.
That's them still helping you, right?
Absolutely.
So you need to do what works best for you because you're the one giving birth.
Yeah.
Really.
And I mean, you want to be in your most calm state.
Yeah.
So how you feel, if you're stressed out, if there's somebody in there that's not giving off good vibes and is, making you feel all weird and uncomfortable, then that can slow your process down, and you don't want that. So.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I would say think about it.
Yeah.
Because I think it's definitely a big deal. And then the second one is, where do you want to give birth? Mm-hmm. Do you want to give birth in a hospital? Do you want to give birth at home? There's options for birth centers. Yeah. I, again, did not want to go to the hospital, so my only option was a birth center or at home, and we just did at home. We did end up having to transfer with our third because I just wasn't progressing. So we had to transfer anyways, but that was not my first choice. I wanted to be at home. But some people really want to be in the hospital. They just feel more confident in the hospital, and that's fine too.
There's pros and cons to every location.
Absolutely.
I mean, the hospital, is nice in the fact that if something did go wrong, you're there. They are trained in those situations. But if you're someone that gets stressed out in the hospital because of something else in your life, you know, it's going to be hard to relax and give birth.
Yeah.
If you're someone who just in your mind you've always envisioned just being at home in this calm environment, then you're going to be stressed out.
Yeah.
So it depends which kind of person you are. And then the home birth, it's nice because you don't have to get up and drive somewhere. You don't have to pack your bag. You don't have to worry about the rules of a hospital. You get to do what you want when you're at home.
Absolutely. You get to eat when you want. Yeah. There's no limit. You can't, it's not like they just limit you to ice chips.
Exactly. But if something went wrong, you have to transfer, and depending on where you live, that might not be the best scenario, right?
Yeah.
So
you can't predict. Yeah. You can't always predict birth, right? It's going to go the way it's going to go. Yeah. So.
And then birthing center.
Apparently it's amazing. I've heard amazing things. The one in Alberta in Edmonton, they give you waffles, and apparently they're amazing. Yeah. And I remember, I actually interviewed a girl for a day home spot at my house at one time, and she was like, I ended up having to transfer to the hospital, but then, her midwife discharged her, and she ended up going back to the birth center and having her waffles, and she was
that's so funny,
excited, because she was like, everybody just raved about them, and she said they were so good.
I know many people who have given birth at the birth center.
They say it's beautiful. It's like a hotel. Like
my one sister had her baby there, Cameo.
Oh, did she? I didn't know that. Oh wow,
her last baby.
Oh, her last baby she did. Oh, that's so cool.
And she really enjoyed the experience there.
I heard it's beautiful. Yeah. It's like
basically like a birth center, for anyone who doesn't know. It's like, it feels like a hotel.
Yeah.
Like they have a room, they'll have a bed, they'll have a big tub. It looks like a jacuzzi tub, but there's no jets, so that it's easy cleaning for them after. There'll be a shower, there's the toilet. They'll usually have things to help with birthing positions, like a rope that you can hold onto. They'll have a stool for squatting, different things.
That's so cool.
And then you make yourself comfortable.
And she loved it, probably.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
And it's almost like a home birth, but you're not at home.
Yeah, and then you're not cleaning up your place either. I mean, if you do have a home birth, they're amazing. They clean up everything. Yeah. They clean up the pool. They throw your towels in the wash. They help you shower. Yeah. They're amazing. They really.
But this birth center is a nice alternative for those who don't want to be in their own home.
Absolutely, and I think my friend was gonna do it, and I think it's like $600 or something for to birth there. I'd have to check again, but
I was going to with my first.
Yeah.
And it was $500
there. Yeah, it was when
that was 7 years ago.
Yeah, that's when it was the same thing when I had Ben, because I was thinking about it, but then my friend was going to possibly, and then she ended up moving to BC, and so, she ended up not going to the birth center, but I think she said it was like around $650 or something. So it has gone up a little bit. But
as everything has.
Everything has, but it is absolutely beautiful. Everything there is so nice. So it would be totally worth it. And I hear the waffles are it's worth it enough.
Getting fed after labor is what every person should think about.
Oh, yes.
Because after you give birth, you're so hungry.
You're so hungry. Oh. You're exhausted and you're hungry.
It's a lot of work.
I remember when we had Lorelei at the hospital, and he's like, okay, good job, babe. He's like, mission accomplished or whatever. He's like, now we need to eat, because we hadn't eaten. I was in labor since, like, I did not really have an appetite from my water breaking to that. It was like Saturday, and she wasn't born till Monday morning. So like we ate something, but that was only like Sunday, like afternoon at like 2:00, and then we never ate anything after that. And so, like, we were
hungry,
starving. And I remember he's like, hey, what do you want? And I'm like, he's like, please don't say McDonald's. I'm like, ew, as if. like gross. And then I was like, I really wanted Ito, and so I ended up getting Ito, and I was so hungry, and Lorelai was on my stomach, and because we're doing skin to skin, and I was dropping food like the beef and noodles on her head, and I was like,
oh my goodness.
I was just loving it. It was so good. So good.
That's so funny.
Yeah, but yeah, no
I
McDonald's.
always pack snacks and
Yes.
food in my bag, even if I'm not planning a hospital birth.
Yeah.
The emergency bag has snacks in it.
That's smart. Because, well, are you allowed, or it depends? You could like hide it, because they didn't even want me to have my water bottle in the hospital.
What?
I'm like, are you?
After?
No, like when I was in labor. They were like.
During labor, they discourage it in the hospital usually.
But like if
postpartum, there's no
it,
problem.
Yeah, postpartum, that makes sense.
And technically, you can still do it against their advice.
I feel like somebody told me that, and they were
but they tell you not to.
They said
they make it sound like you are not allowed.
They said like this nurse, I can't remember who I was talking to. They're like, yeah, so a nurse came in and was like, technically you're not supposed to do that, and then they're like, but I'll just leave the room for like 5 minutes and pretend that I didn't see it. And they ended up actually like drinking water or something while they were in labor. I was like, yeah. Of course, because it's like running a marathon. You need energy. My gosh, like ice chips, that's not gonna work.
I brought my coconut water with me when I went with Katarina, my third.
And they didn't say anything?
I didn't tell them.
Oh, you just didn't say anything.
I put it in my bag, and then when we got into the room, I just took it out. Yeah. My midwife didn't say anything. Maybe if you have a doctor, they might.
Maybe if you have a doctor, I don't know, because they just, I mean.
My first, I was told I was only allowed ice chips.
Which makes no sense, because ice chips turn to water. Yeah. So what? I don't understand.
I was mad, though.
That's for another discussion. But seriously, though, it makes no sense. Our next point is what positions you'd like to use for labor. I mean, I think this is huge. You need to be in a certain position where your pelvis opens up more for the baby to come down. That's like, I mean, that's a huge thing. I would say you need gravity to be your friend, for sure. I don't know, like, how did you?
Well, I did a lot of reading and listening to videos. People talk about it before. Yeah. But I remember, like, always hearing, like you said, gravity. Yeah. So I tried to use gravity, and then I'd see if it felt good. So even with my first, after I got an epidural in the hospital, I was pushing and pushing like a long time. And
really? How long again?
Oh, I forget. An hour and a half, 2 hours.
Wow.
I think it was 2 hours maybe. It was a long time.
It's a long time to
and push. Compared to like 8 minutes, 16 minutes for my other ones.
I know.
Anyways, so I asked them, I said, I want to get up and use gravity.
Yeah.
So the midwife actually got the bar up on the edge of the bed.
Yeah.
And even though I could barely feel anything, they helped me get up into a squatting position.
Really?
And I crouched in a squatting position. And it actually helped move the baby's head down more.
And did they have to hold you because you had an epidural?
No.
Or did you have like a walking epidural?
I could not walk.
No. Okay.
But it didn't, I had spots that didn't fully take.
Really? So like you could stand up. Okay. I was always wondering.
I didn't try. There's a lot I couldn't feel though. But I remember I had one spot on my stomach that would feel tight when I had a contraction, so that's how I knew.
You knew kind of how to push.
Anyways, I used gravity. Before I got the epidural, earlier in labor, I did a lot of leaning over the bed. That's what felt comfortable for me.
Mm-hmm.
I tried kneeling in the shower because the water felt really good. Sitting on a birth ball. And then with my second, I was in the tub a lot at the beginning. And then I went to my bed and I had to just lay on my back just to like relax a little.
Yeah.
And then when I felt baby coming, my instinct was to turn over and go on all fours.
Oh yeah, that's how I birthed every single baby of mine.
That's so funny, me too.
Oh, I was all fours.
All fours.
Except when I had Sophie, because I was birthing her in the pool, and then
you had a different situation.
She had pooped in the water, and so my midwife didn't want her to go submerged into the water, and so she had me just standing. So I was just squatting. So I've done, again, squatting and all fours, and I can't imagine birthing any other way.
Yeah, it would be so weird.
It would be so weird. And those are like super common positions for pushing out a baby.
My third, I did a lot of moving all over the place. So leaning on the bed, sitting on the birth ball, sitting on the toilet for a long time. That's when I really opened up.
The toilet, yes, that is the spot.
It is horrible, but I mean, so good at the same time.
Oh my gosh, they suck. I remember the first time you did that.
With my fourth.
She had to go pee, and I walked her to the toilet, and then she sat down. She's like, "Oh, I'm not ready for this." And
literally,
I actually kind of laughed. I was like, you kind of laughed too. She actually kind of did laugh in her like, oh, this hurts so bad. She actually did. She's like, I'm not ready for this. But seriously,
I had memories, like flashbacks of the contractions getting more intense.
It is so intense when you have one on the toilet.
And it's like, I felt like they come closer together when you're in that position.
Oh, it's horrible.
It's just the way that you're positioned sitting on a toilet. But it helps if you need to get things moving. Yeah. It's a great position.
I know, it is. And that's the crazy thing, is that I never understood why my labor wouldn't progress. When I was in labor, I was at 6 centimeters from like midnight to like 7 a.m. And I was still at 6 centimeters, and I apparently was going backwards. And so it was just crazy. I'm like, even on the toilet, oh, I was so mad. But there was a reason for that, and it was a good thing that I was in the hospital. Otherwise, I would have had to have a not so fun ambulance ride. So, yeah.
That's true.
It all happens for a reason. But if you are wanting to find good labor positions, absolutely. I would say my favorite is all fours, squatting, and the toilet. Yeah. 100%. Those are really good.
Yeah. And if anybody wants a handout for some birth positions, let us know, and we can set you up with that to get a free copy.
Yeah, for sure.
Just like a, what are they called? Infographic.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they're really good to have.
Yeah, just like a nice reminder. Yeah. I definitely had gone to all fours for my third birth too. And then that's how she was born.
It's so natural.
And then my fourth, I was on my back because I was in the water, like leaning at first. And then I still ended up turning over even in the water.
No, yeah, you did.
So I started.
Yeah.
When she first was crowning, I was on my back. And then I still turned over.
Yeah, you did. It's just like
instinctually you do what feels best for your body.
It just feels more natural, and I feel like it takes the pressure off. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just does. It does.
Yeah.
It just felt more comfortable. Or like leaning like this on the pool, and kind of like spreading your legs too.
Yeah.
That also is really comfortable too, because it's like taking the pressure off your belly and stuff.
But if you are really wanting to be able to do this and having lots of movement, using a birth ball, sometimes it's nice to have this in your birth plan so that the doctor or the midwife knows, okay, this is what their preference is.
Yeah, absolutely, because then they might refer back to it. If you're, stalling or whatever, bouncing on the ball is a huge thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say those are really good tips for positions. What about you?
Yeah. No, like just knowing kind of the fact that if you're wanting to move around lots. Yeah. And that will lead us to our next point then. If you're wanting to do lots of movement, being up on all fours, being able to squat, you probably are not going to have much for pain management in terms of medication.
Well, yeah.
Because you want to be able to move.
Yeah.
So then you're going to have to decide what types of pain management are you wanting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you wanting to have any kind of medication?
Yeah.
Are you not at all? What other techniques would you like to use? There are lots of different things that you can use.
You can use a TENS machine. There's some for pregnancy, for when you're in labor. Like that would be, or like certain positions where it takes more of the pressure off. Like I remember like hanging off of my counter, like hanging down and squatting down, and it just like took the pressure off my back. And I don't know, I really liked that. And you just, if you're wanting to have a natural birth, you have to find ways to cope with the pain. Petra did hypnobirthing, and they teach you how to calm your breath and how to really breathe into your contractions. I never experienced that, but
it's a form of relaxation.
But it definitely worked.
So it's like guided meditations usually that are involved. You can do visualization, so just visualizing certain things that help you relax. You can use massage.
You can use ice or combs.
Yeah.
You can put like combs on your hands. It kind of just like takes the pain to your hands and you're not thinking about it as much.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, definitely.
I've seen that.
Doing hot or cold packs if you have back pain.
Yeah, heat pads.
Yeah, if you're having back labor especially.
Loved using my heat pad. It was a saving grace.
Water. That's why a lot of women like water birth.
But it can't be too hot. I learned that.
It has to be safe for baby.
It was not safe. Oopsies.
Yeah.
But honestly, it does really help with pain management.
Yeah, so there are many different things that you can use. So it's important to know the different things and what options interest you, what you absolutely do not want, what are possibilities for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's good to know.
Just know what is available. Our next point, if you want any music.
Yeah, sometimes that can help you relax too.
Yeah, like I really like praise and worship music. I always had that with my birth, and it just helped relax me.
I did that with my third.
Yeah.
I had my playlist just going on repeat in the background. Yeah. In the hospital.
Yeah, I just had it at home, and I honestly loved it. You can just have calming, serene kind of music, like, you know, like you're going to a spa, like raindrops, like whatever calms you, whatever is your jam. And if you want to listen to heavy metal, then that's what you like, I guess. I don't know.
My one sister, I remember her one birth, she had a playlist ready to go.
Oh no.
So my music is all like, it's like calm and it's relaxing.
Yeah.
It's like sets the atmosphere. And my sister's the opposite. She's like, pump it up and you can do it. You know, that kind of music.
Which sister? Oh, nice.
And my dad thought it was so funny. He's like, I could just tell your personalities. Like, it's just so different. But she was going for an epidural birth that time too.
That's
so it was a little bit different.
I could see Davina doing that.
But she enjoyed that birth still too.
That's awesome.
So
I love that.
You figure out what helps you.
You figure out what works for you. There you go. So some people like that.
Yeah.
Whatever you want, whatever's going to relax you and help you to be able to just really focus on, you know, you and your baby and getting that baby out.
Yeah.
And breathing your baby down.
And after the baby, you're not quite done.
No, you're not.
You still have to birth the placenta.
Yeah, so I've always just had to birth it, like having a midwife. Some doctors, I mean, I've heard this, they can they get them to push and then they pull it out.
Which is not recommended anymore.
Well, but the thing is, because it can tear, and then you don't want that left inside of you.
You leave pieces of placenta in there.
That's toxic.
You get infections.
That's what happened to my sister multiple times. She had to go for D&Cs right after she had her baby. I never, ever, ever did. And I'm so grateful because it's horrible. And one of my other friends had it. And right after she had her baby, she had to sign a little thing saying, yeah, she's going for surgery, right? So it's not fun. So the best way to do it is let your body just, you can totally push it out. It's better than pulling it out.
Yeah. It's now recommended to keep the cord connected until it's no longer red or purple or whatever.
Until it turns white.
Yeah. This usually happens before the placenta comes. Sometimes it's after. Depends. Some people's placenta will birth right after. Other people, it might take like up to half an hour.
It can take up to half an hour to come out, yeah. Absolutely.
I think half an hour is usually the time where they start thinking, okay, maybe we should consider giving you some Pitocin, which is the artificial oxytocin, to help get things going.
Get things going. I would say mine was around 10-15 minutes. It wasn't too long.
But normally, naturally, your body will just do it on its own.
Yeah, it knows it needs to get it out, right?
Yeah.
So your body's very smart.
Sometimes having it in your birth plan that you want to let your body do it on its own, knowing you do not want it to be pulled on, knowing you want to keep the cord attached until it's not pulsing in white.
Absolutely.
These can be things that maybe if they're really important to you, you want to put it in your birth plan.
Absolutely, because otherwise it might just be overlooked, and then you don't want that thing to happen. So
yeah,
I would say that's definitely something that you want to put on your birth plan. If you don't care, then that's fine too. But
some people do cord blood banking.
Yeah, some people do that.
If you
do
that,
stem cells, isn't it?
Yeah, for stem cells. Yeah. If you do that, you do not get to do delayed cord clipping now.
Yeah.
Because you need that blood that's in the cord.
Yeah.
So then they would have to cut it before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's something you'd have to consider too if you're looking into that. Is it worth it to you?
Yeah.
You know, always look at the like both sides, like which is more important to us, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then like with vitamin K, I didn't know this, but in a hospital they just give it to a baby.
Yeah.
So it's not even really talked about. They just like will just give the baby the shot in the leg or whatever. And then like we've always done vitamin K. It's just been something my husband wanted to do, and we've always just done it. But when you have a midwife, they will actually ask you before the birth. They'll say, "Hey, are we doing vitamin K?" And then if you say no, then they'll say okay, and they'll tell you the risks, and then you just decide to do it then, right? But I guess hospitals they just do it. And I was like, Keith, did they even ask us? And yeah, he was like, no, they didn't. They just did it. And
but you guys didn't care.
But we didn't care, so it wasn't like it was like this uprising. Like I was so upset.
Yeah.
But yeah, apparently they just do it, and I didn't know that. So.
Vitamin K is something that is also, I think, important to look into. Knowing, first of all, why are you giving it to your baby?
Yeah.
Knowing the risks associated if you don't give it to your baby.
Mm-hmm.
The risks associated to giving it to your baby because it is an injection directly into the bloodstream.
Yeah.
Into the muscle.
I think it's into the muscle.
Yeah, into the body. Anyways,
it goes into the body. Yeah. They're absorbing it for sure.
And then also deciding if you don't want the injection, maybe you want the oral vitamin K because it does come in an oral form as well.
You can order it. You can. Yeah.
They do not keep it in stock here in Alberta where we are.
Oh, they don't. Okay.
You need to order it in ahead of time. So if you want to do oral vitamin K here, you need to think about that and order it before.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you think, okay, so the risks of that are if the baby throws up, then they throw up the vitamin K as well.
Yeah.
That's why they do the injection.
Yeah.
But then injections, you have to have some certain ingredients to be able to like stabilize it and, all those things.
Yeah. So there's pros and cons to it all. It's just really just being aware of everything and making the best informed decision for you and your baby.
And if you did say no, they would just get you to sign a form saying you were making that choice, even though they gave you the option.
Absolutely. And there's lots of information you can find out about it.
Yeah. That's the only thing I think they give now here.
Yeah, they don't do the erythromycin. They
used to do the antibiotic in the eye, but they don't now.
They don't anymore, no.
In the States, they do the Hep B, but they don't do that here.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a shot they give them? Oh, I didn't know that.
I don't think anywhere in Canada does that, though.
I feel like I got a hepatitis shot when I was like grade 5. Hepatitis B
Maybe.
shot.
I don't even know.
Pretty sure that's what it was, but interesting. I did not know that. that you'd give it to a baby so young. But yeah.
Not here.
No, not in Canada. I didn't know that. But yeah, those, I mean, I think those are great things to consider when you are planning your birth and what you want it to look like. And at the end of the day, birth it can be messy, and it doesn't always go the way that you want.
That's true.
And I think the best thing is that you just do what's best for you and baby in the end, and you might have to change your plan. And that's
Sometimes
okay
you have
too.
to be flexible,
And that's okay too.
The other thing is, if you're in a hospital, not all doctors like to follow birth plans. So it depends who you have.
I've heard that too.
Some of them laugh at them and say, oh, this is crazy. So it's also important to have somebody who is one of your birth partners that is going to advocate for you as well.
Yeah.
Who knows your birth plan, and who's going to say, hey, this is her birth plan. This is what she said she wants, or this is what she said she doesn't want.
Yeah.
So that
Can you just be
they're looking
mindful?
at it at least.
Yeah.
And there may be situations, like maybe you said, I don't want a C-section at all. But then something happens, there's an emergency, and it's literally a situation where you either get the C-section or one of you could die.
Yeah.
In that situation, you know what? You're going to be flexible.
You will, absolutely.
You might be sad because that was not on your birth plan, but you're also going to be thankful that you're both alive and well in the end.
You never know, because I remember hearing somebody that wanted it so badly, and then they wanted a home birth, and it just never worked out. And then they ended up having to transfer because their water was broken too long. And it was the midwife who had to make the call that we have to go for a C-section because we're afraid with the baby's heart rate. Yeah. And he had people ahead of her, and he said, no, I need to take these people first. Take this woman first because it's really important. And the baby was born not breathing. And I think it was about 6 minutes, and they were able to revive her, and she was okay.
Wow. Amazing.
And then the mom and dad were really grateful that
the doctor made that decision.
Because they could have been not taking a baby home. So, and at the end of the day, it all matters what's best. And, it's okay to have your birth plan change. At the end of the day, that's what happens. And just know that you and your baby are safe, right? So, just be flexible.
I always say a birth plan is almost should be called a birth guide. It's a guide to what you would like to have.
Absolutely.
It doesn't mean it's written in stone and there's no changing.
Yeah.
It just means this is kind of what your wishes are. Yeah. And we try our best to follow it.
And that's also why you hire a doula, because we will make sure that we let the doctor know that you do have these requests.
We advocate for you,
and we
definitely.
advocate for you more, right?
Yeah.
So it is definitely a good thing if you're wanting these things to hire a doula. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because we do take these things seriously.
Yep, exactly.
Because we want our clients to have the best outcome and their wishes granted,
Yeah.
And so that's another thing. If you're really worried about it, then when in doubt, hire a doula.
Yeah.
Because you'll be well taken care of, and we'll do anything that we can to make sure that you have the birth of your dreams. So,
and we're unbiased, so we come with a different perspective than the people that are really close to you would have, right? We're there for you. We're going to help you in any way we can, but we're not going to cave if you change in the moment. You're like, I changed my mind. I don't want that. I want this. We're going to say, no, you don't.
This is what you wanted.
And you talked over and over again, and this is what you wanted.
Yeah, and we're going to make sure that we see that through.
Yeah.
So, put that on your birth plan.
Yeah. if you are thinking after hearing all of this that maybe you'd like to create your own birth plan, but you just don't know how or where to even start, we're here to help you. We have a template, a birth plan template made just for you. Yeah. Totally editable. You can make it your own. Yeah. And if you're interested in that, then send us a message. You can comment with this podcast, or you can send us an email, what.the.mom.doulas@gmail.com, and I will add that email in the description as well. Yeah. And if you email us or comment about it, we'll make sure that you get a copy. Absolutely. Because sometimes that can just be a help when you have so much going on, right? And then you just have to just fill it out, and then you just take it with you. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, that's our episode is over. Number 14, was it? 14. Woo! Wow. And we thought we were never going to start one. So, thanks so much for joining us. Until next time, what the mom?